Welcome to Great Getaways. Today's show takes us to western Chippewa County, where we're going to be kayaking on the Tahquamenon River. We'll also make a stop at the Tahquamenon Falls State Park, go up to a cranberry farm, and out in the middle of nowhere, we found an old cemetery that was pretty interesting. All this takes place around the quaint little town of Paradise. Let's get going. Our first adventure today is going to be a kayak trip down the Tahquamenon River. So we headed over to pick up our guide and friend, and then went through the quaint little town of Paradise on our way to his retreat located on the shores of Lake Superior. We're up here in Paradise, Michigan today. We're with a good friend, Dennis Jankowski, and Dennis has invited us up to do a little kayaking. And just down the road from us is the Tahquamenon River, and that's where we're going to go today.
We are. I suggested Lake Superior, but these guys want the Tahquamenon River.
Yeah, there we go. I'm not going out there, not in a kayak. What's the river like? You've been on it before.
It can be dead calm. It's a real slow-moving river. But a lot of kayakers out there, and it's beautiful, very picturesque.
Good spot to go to.
Absolutely.
Ben. All right, well, what do you say? We get going.
Let's go.
We have not been on the Tahquamenon River in quite a few years, and we're really looking forward to a fall kayak trip down the waterway. The colors were amazing, and the weather was perfect. We launched our crafts, and we're soon paddling down the river. One thing we didn't do that we had thought about is maybe doing a little fishing out here. This can be great for fishing. We haven't got the time for it today, and heck, we're enjoying ourselves just on the paddle.
Absolutely.
We got a little color going out here, and we're going to continue on. The Tahquamenon River is 89 miles long that flows in a generally eastward direction through the eastern end of the Upper Peninsula. It begins in the Tahquamenon Lakes in northeast Columbus Township of Luce County and empties into Lake Superior near the village of Paradise. M123 runs alongside a portion of the river. This is a pretty wild area actually up in here that follows along the Tahquamenon River. You got the Tahquamenon State Park. It's just a nice place to get out away from everything.
It's beautiful up here. I couldn't think of a better place to spend a beautiful fall day than right here on the river.
I noticed one thing. Now, usually Danny and I come up, maybe last of September, early October. By that time, colors are in full bloom. Well, every time you think you got Mother Nature figured out, and this year it's late. We've got color out here, as you can see in the back, but it's not peaked yet. So if you're thinking about coming up, it's all a matter of hit and miss. Come up here though, because whether there's color or not, you will enjoy yourself. The meaning of Tahquamenon is not known. Some call it the River of the Headwinds because they buck the wind on the lower river no matter which direction they're paddling. Others called it the River of 100 Bends. 20th century descendants of local Chippewa translated the name to mean river up against a hill, or Lost River Island, or river with an island part way. We settled into our float and we were enjoying the scenery. So you were talking about this road that's out here. We actually we drove down the road a little ways and put the kayaks in there, but the road continues on. How far does it go?
It goes from M123 back about 6.5 miles or so. It's called the Tahquamenon River Road. It kind of runs right alongside the river. pretty nice gravel road if you're a fat tire biker or mountain biker. It's an easy ride, very scenic, very nice ride. And also the North Country Trail runs parallel to the road, so if you wanted a little more excitement in your ride, you could get off and ride on the trail some.
We had taken a break and I thought it was a good time to pick Dennis's brain about what kind of wildlife we might see. What kind of animals might we see along here?
You may see bear, you may see beaver, an occasional moose. I have not seen a moose yet, but there is signs on the road saying moose crossing, so I'm always on the alert. Deer, occasional bald eagle flying over. It's beautiful.
And now, have you heard anything about, is the river good for fishing, like down in here?
Absolutely. Pike, muskie. You get a lot of guys fishing up here throughout the summer season.
And you can also, if they want to go in the big waters, they can get into Lake Superior from here too.
Right down there.
Yep, it isn't far away.
No, it's not.
The water is noticeably brown in color from the tannins leached from the cedar swamps which the river drains, leading to the nickname for the falls, Root Beer Falls. The color of the water has always fascinated me from the first time I've seen it. As we go upriver, is it going to narrow some? We've been kind of in a part that's kind of wide, kind of weedy and along the edges.
It actually stays pretty wide. I mean, you get away from some of the marshy area and it's more defined as you go upriver. The river mouth is kind of that marshy type area, but it stays pretty wide and pretty defined.
Okay. I think what we're going to do here probably is, seeing as how it's really hard to keep control of your kayak when you're trying to sit still in a river. It doesn't work very well. But we're going to go ahead and head on upriver a little bit further now and take a look. Ooh, I see some color down there. Why don't we head that way? Our trip down the river was second to none, and I'll be back very soon. We've gone upriver as far as we're going to go. We've actually turned around. We're headed back down towards the river mouth now. Denny, it's been a great trip up here. Now, you have done it from the actual lower falls down to the mouth. How far is that?
About 16 miles.
That's a long way.
It is. Takes about 5.5 hours. Something like that, but it's great. It's an all-day thing. Pack a lunch, plenty of water. Make sure you have all your provisions with you.
Okay. Now, you have actually, well, what you're thinking of is going out into Lake Superior. You live down the coast a ways and actually making the full trip back to your house?
Yeah, it's about another 1.5 miles.
Oh, that ain't bad then. What a great way to spend a fall day in the wilderness of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. As much fun as this was, we had more on our agenda. Being on the river, we decided to go over to the falls for a fall treat and fantastic color. In 1936, the state of Michigan acquired 2,200 acres surrounding and including the upper and lower Tahquamenon Falls from the U.S. Forest Service. After acquiring the lands through gifts, tax delinquency, and exchanges, the Michigan State Park Commission officially dedicated 17,000 acres in January of 1947 and named it the Tahquamenon Falls State Park. It is now one of the most visited and photographed state parks in Michigan. We're down here at the lower Tahquamenon Falls right now. You can see just one part of it. It actually goes around an island which is over here. Now they have built a new bridge out here where you can take the boardwalk around and you can take the bridge out to the island itself and actually go around the island. That's where we're headed now. But this is a beautiful sight right here too. Arriving at the falls, we went to the lower falls first. We wanted to take the new bridge across to the island where all 5 of the lower falls were viewable. In the past, the only way to get there was to rent a canoe or pay to take a boat. Now it's accessible to everyone. Heading down to the boardwalk where the bridge goes across. Just stopping here, you see there's benches along the way that anybody can stop and take a break. You know, Denny, you've been a co-host on so many shows with me, and it's just been exciting places that we've been, but God, this one's really nice.
It is, especially this time of the year in the fall. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
You really need to get out here, take a walk down here, enjoy the area. The 142-foot aluminum bridge, which connects to an expanded boardwalk, offers expanded access to the 5-acre island that splits the lower falls. The $1.3 million project allows disabled people to reach a part of the park which has been mostly out of reach. Park staff says it also aids with emergency access. It's probably a 10-minute walk from the parking lot. It's a little bit of a hike to get down to the boardwalk and the bridge, but there are several nice views along the way to photograph the waterfalls as you make your way towards the bridge. And then we've got a half-mile trail that goes around the island for visitors to be able to enjoy the park, spend a couple of hours hiking, taking pictures, and enjoying nature's beauty. The bridge was carefully placed at the southwest section of the island to avoid disrupting the views of the lower falls. The north side of the island, in the center of these 5 lower falls, can be partially viewed from the riverbank. This provides a very scenic, close view of all 5 of the lower Tahquamenon Falls. The lower falls are an easy walk for sure. There are boardwalks and very few stairs. A few years ago, we were fortunate on a beautiful sunny day to interview park interpreter Teresa Neal. Noted in poem and song, you too may be inspired by the thunderous upper falls and the adventurous lower falls of the Tahquamenon River. Teresa Neal, the park naturalist, shared the story of the falls with me. Well, we do a lot of hiking, and I know you've got some great hiking trails here. We mentioned that already. But how long are they, and what will we see along the way?
Sure. Some of our most popular hiking trails are along the North Country Trail. And the North Country National Scenic Trail is a 4,600-mile trail, but actually about 35 miles of it go through the park. So we get quite a few through hikers as well as day hikers that hike between, say, the upper and lower falls is the most popular trail in the park. It's called the River Trail. It's 5 miles. It's pretty rugged, but it's definitely the most beautiful. Follows the river up and down. Oftentimes, folks might see otter or signs of beaver for sure. The occasional deer will come through there. People have seen black bear here at the top of the lower falls. So there are viewing opportunities if you're in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
Another popular hiking trail is the Clark Lake Loop, which is in the northern natural area of the park. So that is a 6-mile hiking trail that goes through some peatlands, some bog, and some old growth sand dunes, some old sand dunes that are out there, ridges and swales. And out there just a couple weeks ago, my coworker and I were out hiking, and I swear we scared up a moose. And so there's things out there. You just have to be in the right spot at the right time.
Okay, it sounds like good reasons, all good reasons to come up here. A lot of this is handicap accessible too.
Correct, yes. A lot of it is accessible as long as there's not snow on the ground. The lower falls, which is where we're at right now, is open during the non-snowy months. This is where the campground is, and the amenities such as the rowboat rental and hiking trails are pretty popular here as well.
Totally majestic view, the upper falls are a must-see. The 200-foot wide Upper Falls is one of the largest waterfalls east of the Mississippi River, and the extremely soft water churned up by the action of the falls causes the river's trademark large amounts of foam. We discovered an historic cemetery in the middle of the wilderness. There were graves that dated back well over 100 years. We made sure we were respectful as we explored the grounds. As we walked silently, you could hear the winds whipping across Whitefish Bay. We've been out here exploring around the Paradise area, and one of the places you always want to come to is Whitefish Point. Now, we went out to the point a little earlier, we were coming back, and we passed a sign for the Whitefish Point Cemetery. Some of these cemeteries back down these old roads, these are old cemeteries. Yeah, you can even see here, these are people that were born in the 1800s, died later. And a small child was this one here. We figured it was probably because this is a family plot. If that was a child of theirs, he only lived 8 or 9 years. But these are the kind of things you see when you come out to a place like this. Now we're back in, we're around it. I mean, it's in the woods, it's on hills. I've never seen a cemetery look like this. And we're gonna kind of go around here a little bit and explore some of the other ones. Well, this is just another one of these plots that are back in here. And it looks like people just came in and picked out a spot for their family, and then they buried them here. Now, we've got a couple here, and this goes back to 1876. The name was McMullen, and so we got some Irishmen up here. And this one over here, it must have been a child, only lived a few years. I've seen a lot of that too, where a lot of these little gravestones and stuff are for people or kids that didn't make very long. This is hard country in the winter. It's a hard country back in the mining days, the lumbering days, and many people died young. As I mentioned before, I'm seeing a lot of family type plots out here. You can see the fencing that's going around them. And these are families that, born back in the 1800s. I'm seeing dates here that actually go to 1992, which are probably some of the last of the families. And the reason I say that is because you will notice that most of these are pretty unkept out here. It's a cemetery that's kind of lost in the woods, and those are the best kind to come out here, read some of the headstones that are out here, and just wonder what these people did. Another thing I've been noticing as we go around here, it looks like a lot of them are family plots. And not only that, a lot of the headstones themselves look like they were handmade. There's a variety of different types here. You can see one we've got here that was just a slab of cement, and somebody's taken it, decorated it, and put it up here. Another thing I'm finding interesting out here as I go along, you got to remember this is back in 1882 that this was actually started. And we've got spots here, and you'll know these chains. It's chain link that has been formed into a cross, and every one of those are unknown. They're unknown people, possibly from shipwrecks or various other things that they never knew who they were, and they're buried in these plots. Kind of scary, kind of cool. Bruce Lynn, the executive director of the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum, gave us some great information on the history of Whitefish Point.
Well, I represent a lighthouse keeper, and the first lighthouse was built here in the late 1840s. The tower that we see behind us was built during Abraham Lincoln's administration. So 1861, the Civil War was just starting, and it was very important to have an aid to navigation here for all the ship traffic passing. Every single ship that goes in and out of Lake Superior must go past Whitefish Point. So you can imagine that this was a pretty strategic location to have a lighthouse. So that's why we had the first one here, and as we were approaching the Civil War, it was breaking down a little bit. It was a stone tower, and the lighthouse keepers felt that it was unsafe. So they decided, and they being the lighthouse service, decided to build a new tower here, and it's been working since 1861. The lighthouse keepers here, pretty remote location to be a keeper, but there were several keepers that had their families, and in one case, one lighthouse keeper and his wife raised their children and their grandchildren right here at Whitefish Point. And they arrived in 1903, and they left in 1931. 28 years straight being a lighthouse keeper up here at Whitefish Point. Very different today with the museum being here. We have thousands of tourists that come through and visit each summer, but when they were keepers, it would have been a pretty quiet place. And early 1920s, you had the Coast Guard arrived, and they built a rescue station, very much like the life-saving service, only a little bit of a different era. And the whole idea here was that these Coast Guard rescue station crew members would be pretty much on guard 24 hours a day, and they would watch for all the ship traffic, and if there were any ships that got into trouble, they had different kinds of tools and different boats that they could use to try to get a crew, either help get the crew off of the ship or just do what they could do to help the situation. So a lot of the buildings you see up here at Whitefish Point are from that era, from the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, and there was an awful lot happening up here at that time. But I did have an opportunity to speak with a captain of one of these 1,000 footers passing, and we get this question all the time here at the museum: are these lighthouses really that important anymore? With all of the electronic gadgets, I guess if you want to call it that, GPS, radar, everything else, is it that critical to have lighthouses? And he kind of paused and just said, well, there's something to be said about being able to use your own eyes and look and see that light. And and also think of the commercial fishermen, think of all the pleasure boats that are up here. This lighthouse works in a lot of ways the same way that it did back in the day, but maybe just a little bit of a different clientele at this point. Other ways ships got into trouble: with all of the ship traffic passing Whitefish Point in a shipping season. And we've seen some records that have indicated as many as 17,000 passages in a shipping season. Think of all that traffic passing each other in very close proximity. I mean, it's a relatively narrowing of the waters here. You go from the open Lake Superior, and then we're getting to Whitefish Bay, and then eventually you get down into the St. Mary's River. But all of that ship traffic passing, it creates opportunities for accidents and collisions. We can never discount human error when it comes to these accidents that would take place. But if you go through the museum, a number of those shipwrecks you're going to read about had everything to do with collision and fog. And so a lighthouse could maybe help with that a little bit, but they happened enough, those wrecks, that again, you can't take the human element out of it. The shipwreck that most people are aware of, most people know about, and really that most people arguably come to the museum to learn about would be the Edmund Fitzgerald. November 10th, 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald disappeared off of the radar screens of the Arthur M. Anderson. This is another ore carrier that was out there with them. And there were a number of other ships that were out on the lake that night, and a number of ships that were here at the bay to wait for that storm to blow itself out. But the Fitzgerald and the Anderson, no one really knows why the Edmund Fitzgerald sank. 29 crew members went down with the ship, and I believe the real truth as to why that ship went down with them, with that crew.
The Centennial Cranberry Farm in Paradise is Michigan's oldest cranberry farm. For 147 years, the farm has been in the House family. Well, you know, we've been traveling around the back roads. We're up here at Paradise. We're out on Whitefish Point right now, just going back in and taking some true tracks around. We found a sign, Cranberry Farm, Jenny's Cranberry Farm. Now, I didn't know that we had cranberry farms in Michigan, to be honest with you. But we came on back here, and I'm talking with Mark House right now. Mark, you're the owner here, and your family's been here a long time.
Yep. Centennial Cranberry Farm has been here for 145 years. We are the oldest and long time, the only cranberry farm in the state of Michigan.
Are there other ones? I didn't know there were other ones.
There's one more in Sheboygan.
Okay.
But just the two.
Now, how do you go about growing cranberries? We've got a big plot of land out here. Was it bog or something?
Yes. Yep.
And how does it work?
Back in 1876, that's why it's called Centennial Cranberry Farm. They cultivated cranberries, wild cranberries, and Native Americans were advising my great-grandfather to go ahead and start the farm here. So he was dropped off from a schooner ship and started the cranberry enterprise here.
Oh, yeah. How cool is this?
Yep.
And now, you've got the sign out there. People can come back here at any time. Then you've got other things out here, too.
Right. We've got the Eagle's Nest, and that could be the oldest and maybe the largest eagle's nest in the state of Michigan.
Now, where is it located from?
It's about 400 feet behind the farm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it something people can see when they're up here?
Oh yeah, we have a loop that goes around the eagle's nest and seating out there, primitive seating for people.
As you can see, they got the cranberries setting out, depending on how many you want. What are you going to make? They've got just small bags here, a little bit larger yet, and just come in, pick them up, take them home, and make yourself some cranberry muffins. Sounds good to me. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. We had a great time up in the Tahquamenon River area. That's a place we haven't been to in a few years now. It was great getting back there, especially in the fall where you got all these great colors. And if you'd like to see more pictures, you can find those on our Facebook, or you can go to our website at greatgetaways.tv for more information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.